Senate is about Nigeria and Nigerians. Every hand must be on deck to see that we increase oil production and then by implication increase the income.
Senate clears hurdles for 2024 to 2026 budgets. Approves committee report on MTEF and FSP.
Even a president, if he assumes office, the officers working there are the people, the civil servants, and the people he works with.
And Senate steps down bill seeking permanent staff for the Office of the National Security Advisor. Hello and welcome to the program Inside the Senate. For about 2 weeks, the National Assembly has been scrutinizing the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. The recommendations of the Joint Committee were considered and adopted by the Senate last week, details of which will be coming your way in the course of the program. We also have a report from the committee room where the Committee on Land, Housing and Urban Development hosted some of the MDAs under its purview. Details of these and more after this short break. I am Aisha Muhammad Ahmed, your guide on the program. Please don't go away.
Promote the unity, happiness and prosperity of Nigeria.
The Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2023.
Amending this act should be supported by all.
There are issues that we must use this opportunity to critically address.
We accord this motion the urgency and the necessity it requires.
I rise the second motion.
The ayes have it.
Welcome back. Wednesday, the 22nd of November 2023, saw the Senate adopting the recommendations of the Joint Committee on Finance, Appropriation, National Planning and Economic Affairs and Local and Foreign Debts on the 2024 to 2026 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework (MTEF) and Fiscal Strategy Paper (FSP). Recommendations from the committee include: all ministries, departments and agencies pay for services provided by other government agencies on time and in full, unless it is determined that the beneficiary agencies are statutorily exempted from such payments. NNPC Limited should work towards reducing its production and operational costs to enhance revenue for the government, as well as all tax waivers not directly linked to non-governmental and non-profit organizations should not be granted, amongst others. In one of the recommendations, the chairman, Senator Muhammad Sani Musa, advised against overvaluing of the dollar against the naira as a means of stabilizing it.
In order to save the naira, we shouldn't play around by saying we are going to take naira value, dollar value more. Instead, what we should be working at, because we'll be getting more inflow from the sales, we should be able to stabilize the naira and our foreign reserve earning will increase. So when the foreign reserve earning is increasing, the dollar value domestically is supposed to be going down. So we shouldn't predicate our budget projections with higher value for the dollar.
Another matter in this regard is the need to increase crude oil production, over which the Senate President gave this advice.
We need the cooperation of all the citizens to do so. And then we also need the cooperation of the security agencies. We even the cooperation of the National Assembly for proper monitoring and oversight of the. So it's key. Every hand must be on deck to see that we increase oil production and then by implication increase the income.
With this, all the other recommendations of the committee were approved. An issue concerning insecurity in Galadima quarters of the FCT was also brought up same Wednesday. Let's take a report on this alongside other matters discussed during plenary last week. The report is compiled and presented from our studio.
The Kuje Area Council stands notorious for its escalating kidnapping incidents.
Coming under matter of urgent public importance, Senator Nat'l reported the escalation of kidnapping and killings in Galadima quarters of FCT.
the recent abduction of 19 individuals, yes, 19, including my senior legislative aide, Barrister Chris Agidi, in the Galadima neighborhood, Abuja, exemplifies the gravity of the situation. Despite swift engagement with law enforcement agencies, tragically, according to security forces, out of the 19 abducted, 12 lives have been lost, and 7 individuals are still being held captive.
There's no other place to ginger the security agent than the National Assembly. Because we are the House of Assembly of the FCT. Whatever is happening in FCT has to be discussed here in the Senate or in the House of Representatives.
It's not just in Galadimawa, part of Lugbe, on the back side of Lugbe, Kubwa, and so forth. So many citizens no longer sleep in their homes. They run into town and go back during the day.
As a result, following resolutions, among others, were adopted. Call for a joint operation by all security agencies to free the kidnapped victims. Urge the Minister of FCT to revisit the CCTV installation contract worth over 500 billion naira paid for without the execution of the contract. Call on the Inspector General of Police to increase security surveillance in and around the FCT. Also read a second time, this time on Thursday the 23rd of November 2023, was a bill for an act to provide the framework for the appointment of the staff of the Office of the National Security Advisor to enhance institutional memory and effective performance of the responsibilities of the National Security Advisor 2023, sponsored by Senator Shehu Buba Umar. According to him, Bill seeks to address the present situation. The Office of the National Security Advisor, which relies on seconded or on contract staffing.
The Office of the National Security Advisor relies primarily on secondment from the military, law enforcement, and intelligence services, and contract for its staffing. Over time, some contract staff providing critical knowledge, best services in the office have worked for upward of 10 years without any plan for their pensions, health insurance, and other benefits as obtained in the security sector and public service. The enabling instrument, therefore, did not clarify on the appointment of permanent staff.
Debates that followed were against the bill, with suggestions that the bill be stepped down.
A situation where you have only contract staff that will work in the Office of National Security Advisor that are not pensionable, and they only collect money as casual staffs, and we go at the end of whenever that particular NSA is going. I don't think Mr. President is right. The worry some of us have in the light of this, even though we appreciate the concerns of our dear chair, and it's my chairman, and I'm a member of that committee, is that let us not, by trying to strengthen it, create a problem. Create a sovereignty within a sovereignty, as a friend rightly put it. How do you, so, even a president, if he assumes office, the officers working there are the people, the civil servants, and the people he works with.
If we now say the National Security Advisor should have the ability to hire, and then he hires some people who see themselves as permanent staff, then you create a problem of rivalry. Who determines what? And this is national security, in which the most unbiased opinion should go to the president of the country.
With this, the question was put, and the senators gave their nod for the stepping down of the bill, as a result of which it was stepped down. Also read a second time same day was the Bitumen Development Commission of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023, sponsored by Senator Jimoh Ibrahim.
Nigeria deposits of bitumen is second largest in the world. When passed, the objective of this bill includes, among others, the need to develop a legal framework for the regulation of bitumen development in Nigeria to prevent unconventional sources from taking advantage of recharge-enhanced application over the competitors. to lead innovation and resource base in development of bitumen in Nigeria.
Opinions on the proposed bill were diverse in the debate that followed.
We have 38,000 kilometers of federal highways. As I speak with you, arising from global environmental issues, these roads are in deplorable states. Further, our depleted foreign reserves is unable to catch up and to meet up with the demands of bitumen importation in Nigeria.
We have to be conscious of increasing overhead costs and creating more and more commission at a time when we have this much talked about Orosaye report, which already suggests that Nigeria federal government has too many commissions carrying out overlapping responsibilities.
Even then, the bill scaled second reading and was referred to the Committee on Solid Minerals to report back in 4 weeks.
That was a summary of proceedings during plenary of last week. Let's take a break to open the Senate's notebook. Don't go away.
The gavel is a mallet used by presiding officers during the Senate plenary or committee proceeding for commanding attention, announcing the end of a deliberation, or confirming a legislative action. It is so important that it is used by all legislatures around the world.
Welcome back. Earlier on Tuesday, the 21st November 2023, the Senate President announced the new Senate's minority leadership as approved by their caucus. They are Senator Abba Moro, new Senate Minority Leader, as well as Senator Osita Ungu, Senate Minority Whip. Their appointments followed the vacancies created as a result of an appeal court ruling sacking the former Minority Leader, Senator Simon Nwadkwam, and former Minority Whip, Senator Darlington Nwokocha. The fact that the new appointees are of the PDP generated disagreement from members of the Labour Party LP, who pointed accusing fingers at the Senate President as being behind the lopsided selection process.
There is no way we have 4 seats for minorities in this Senate, and a PDP will take 3 of the seats. The next party is Labour Party with 7 senators, and we get nothing. That is unfair, that is unjust, that is inequitable, and is against the spirit of the Nigerian Constitution.
How can celebrants choose minority for us every time? Are we your slaves? Are we your slaves? They have done your work, you have put us to the wall.
These generated a rowdy session. Thereafter, a member of the minority caucus gave the outcome of a resolution they adopted after a meeting.
We resolve that distinguished Senator Abba Moro should be the leader of the minority caucus of the 10th Senate. On the issue of minority whip, we had 2 candidates that are interested, and it was decided that in view of the disagreement between them, we resolve to meet at a later date to decide on who should be the minority whip.
The Senate President gave the final words.
In my front, I have 2 papers. Majority of the senators, I believe some are still signing, because not all of you have signed for Senator Abba Moro, but he already has the majority. It will be unfair for me to ignore the majority signatures and not announce him as your minority leader. It doesn't matter your personal reservations. I just want to plead with my colleagues to understand that my job here is not to take individual opinions or to work on the basis of what is convenient to you, but to work on the basis of truth. So this issue of minority leader or minority whip is for now rested until you produce an alternative paper in future.
Accordingly, the matter was rested and the 2 appointments stand. Same Tuesday, a motion titled urgent need to commence the revision of laws of the Federation of Nigeria, which have remained unrevised for almost 2 decades, was sponsored by Senator Kaka Shehu Lawan. Let's take a report of that motion amongst other matters deliberated upon during plenary.
Informed that the last and extant compilation
In
of
his
the laws
presentation, Senator Kaka Shehu Lawan spoke on the negative consequences of not updating these laws.
The laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 has not been revised 19 years after, with the implication that the several laws enacted in Nigeria from 1st January 2003 till date remain excluded from the compilation. The non-compilation of the several federal statutes leads to dearth of knowledge of many existing laws on the part of Nigerians, especially students, lecturers, researchers, lawyers, legislators, and judges, amongst others.
What defined our laws in the past may not be the same now. So it becomes very critical that we review the gamut of our laws from time to time.
As a result, the following resolution was adopted on the motion. Mandate the Committee on Judiciary to immediately interface with the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation to initiate the process of revisiting the law of the Federation. In other matters, the second reading of the Dishonored Checks Act 1977 Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2023 and sponsored by Senator Sunday Karimi Steve was also undertaken. It sought an increase in the categories of courts to try cases of dishonored checks, as well as compensation for its victims, amongst other things.
In the old Act, it is only the Federal High Court that can try offenses on dishonored check. I'm proposing in the new Act that the State High Court and Magistrate Court be allowed to try offenses related to dishonored check.
In United Arab Emirates, if you give a dishonest check, you are liable to life imprisonment. In UK, it's a very, very serious offense. This Senate will be remembered in history for moving very quickly to arrest the malice and eradicate completely the use of dishonest check by people in the society.
Accordingly, the bill skilled second reading and was referred to the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions to report back in 2 weeks. Next was the bill for an act to facilitate the use of information in electronic form for conducting transactions in Nigeria 2023. Sponsored by Senator Salihu Mustafa, the bill is in line with the CBN policy of making Nigeria a cashless economy, amongst other things.
It is expected that Nigeria will benefit majorly from electronic transactions with increased sales, competitive advantage, customer loyalty, increased automation process, extended application of new technologies, and better knowledge management, amongst others, with the passage of this bill. Mr. President, e-commerce made it easy for SMEs to receive payments from customers, and this ease of payment processing not only helps SMEs to streamline their operations, but also increase customer trust and confidence in online transactions.
Opinions on the bill were diverse.
Someone is captured today by somebody in the forest, and they ask the family to send money. Money goes through the banks, yet we are not able to trace that transaction. And so what I'm saying is that for us to begin to go seriously into e-banking, we have to first of all deal with the issues of security, data security. Who sends what and who gets what?
Even the topic as it is does not come out categorically, because you can't make law to just facilitate use of information. The law has to be definite. And this can be done at the public hearing when the bill is read the second time.
And so, the bill skilled second reading and was referred to the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions to report back in 2 weeks.
Welcome back. In the committee room, The Senate Committee on Land, Housing and Urban Development on Monday, the 20th of November 2023, hosted the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, during which the bank's managing director, Mr. Madu Hamman, disclosed some of the bank's products available to customers.
We have the NHF mortgage loan facility, which is granted through primary mortgage banks. We have the FMBN home renovation loan, which is a micro lending of not exceeding 1 million, which is granted to individual contributors who want to renovate their own existing houses. And we also have the rent-to-own product, which is a new window that has been opened up by the bank to enable off-takers who cannot meet up the required equity contribution of minimum of 10%.
A question followed on the challenge of housing deficits in the FCT.
So I'm asking you specifically what, and definitely there's no shortage of land in the FCT. So I want to know what you have been doing in terms of developers. The 254 loans that you gave out in this last 21 months, how many of them came to residents of the FCT?
Currently, over 15 locations where we have developers either about completing or starting new projects within FCTs.
The houses are sold according to your guidelines?
Definitely.
Your Excellency, distinguished chairman and members of the committee.
Next was the Federal Housing Authority, FHA, represented by its Managing Director, Senator Gbenga Ashafa, who spoke on the capacity of the FHA to deliver on its mandates.
The Federal Housing Authority has the capacity to provide affordable housing for all categories of Nigerians if given the privilege of right intervention funds and require legislative support. During the last administration and upon some interventions, the authority delivered 748 housing units of various house types in Zubar, Federal Capital Territory, which was the only housing estate personally commissioned by the immediate past president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The committee chairman, Senator Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, at the end, sought to know how the committee would be of assistance to the FHA. He also promised support to the two agencies to enable them deliver on their mandates. We will close the program as usual with our profile segment. Stay tuned for our Senator of the Week.
Senator Shuaibu Issa Low represents Taraba North Senatorial District under the People's Democratic Party (PDP). He attended LEA Primary School Low in Taraba State from 1969 to 1975 for his first school leaving certificate, Murtala Mohammed College Yola from 1975 to 1980 for his West African School Certificate WASC, as well as ABU Zaria from 1980 to 1984 for a bachelor's degree in engineering in 1984. He joined politics and contested to the Senate in the 2015 general elections but was denied victory. He contested this in court and won, and was eventually given his mandate. He contested again in 2019 and won, as well as 2023 and won again. In the Senate, he is Chairman Senate Committee on Public Procurement and a member of several other committees. His legislative interests include education, agriculture and security, amongst other things.
This brings us to the end of the program this week. Join us next week for another fresh edition. Thanks for watching.